ISIS, Isil, the new face of our enemy. Whatever one may call it, it spells evil, it spells hatred, it spells lies. And as this cancer, classified as such by President Barack Obama himself, spreads throughout the Middle East like a wildfire during a California Santa Ana wind, we try as a weary nation to cope with the idea that we are once again at war. After a long and overly drawn-out operation in Iraq and Afghanistan over the past decade, the last thing the United States needs is another war, right? But a yes or no answer is not that black and white. ISIL is a dangerous and violent group of radical Muslims who have been gaining power in the Middle East since 2013. These killing machines are an off-branch of Al-Qaeda and are raping women and slaughtering innocent children, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. They have videotaped the beheading of American and English journalists, later distributing the horrifying video footage on the internet for the world to see. And they are reportedly holding many others hostage for the same ultimate fate. In addition, a man who supports the organization here in the States just attacked a New York City police officer in broad daylight on the street with a hatchet. So the ripple effects of their cause are being felt here at home and all around the world. ISIL is cruel and barbaric to those who oppose them. The United Kingdom's Daily Mail Online edition recently elaborated about the atrocities. Quote, "The punishment of those who fight Allah and His Messenger and spread mischief on earth is to kill or crucify or cut off their hands and feet," the militant group declared. There were also reports of children being beheaded, crucifixions, and amputations. One said, a trapped Yazidi woman was being raped while their husbands were slaughtered. End quote. The United States has teamed up with other nations, like Britain and even Saudi Arabia, to fight against this threat and to stop their terror organization before they take over more territory and kill more innocent people. But there is talk of possible ground troops being deployed for the United States in the near future, because airstrikes aren't enough to stop them, apparently. So is our government and the rest of our allies doing the right thing and fighting back against these radical murderers? This is what some of our citizens had to say on the matter.
I believe that we've put our hands in everyone else's business since First World War, and we have people here that need that money that we're just dumping into the war effort, and why are we always over there? Why are we always playing Big Brother? So I don't think we should be over there, in my opinion. I know that the UN has helped. I know that we've dropped supplies to the refugees. I think that's helpful, but as far as actually bombing them and trying to be the police and enforce it, I don't think that's effective. I think it's more effective to kind of let the Middle East sort the things out and just kind of give help to the refugees where we can.
That's a tough question for a few reasons. I think that currently they're not necessarily a direct threat, but I think not looking at the situation and not assessing the situation and not really dealing with the situation would make it so that in the future they would become a problem and they would become a direct threat to the country as we know it. Now, I think they are a threat to democracy, especially growing democracy or the potential for democracy in the Middle East. So I think that they're a threat to that. I also, obviously, they're a threat to all the people that on a daily basis they are interacting with. So indirectly, currently, they're a threat. Eventually, they will be a direct threat, but I think it's an important reality that we kind of need to take stock of and look into and assess what our next steps are. That's always so tough. We all like to be Monday morning quarterbacks, right? I should have done this, we should have done that, we would have done that. If you look historically throughout the United States, the reality is that we pick sides. We pick enemies, we pick friends. Sometimes that's worked for us, sometimes that hasn't. For example, the Taliban and Osama bin Laden, at one point the United States was working with both of those entities and both of those groups, and that resulted in a catastrophe for us. To be honest, I think we need to work with our allies. I think it needs to be a truly global effort. This is going to be a global problem. This isn't going to be just a United States problem. This isn't going to be just a democracy problem. This is going to be a global problem. We're talking about, Africa. Africa has the potential for so much growth and so much prosperity, but the reality of terrorist groups and organizations like ISIL and organizations like ISIS stop that growth. And so this needs to be really a global agenda item. Africa needs to be involved. Europe needs to be involved. Russia needs to be involved. You know, we all need to look at this from really a global perspective. And I think once, you know, we get as many allies and we get as many people involved, you know, we need to look at it from many different angles, not just an American or a allied attack force. I think looking at it in that way doesn't necessarily allow for growth and doesn't allow for prosperity and development, which is what needs to happen, you know, in general in that region, for many different people, not just a select few, but for, you know, as many as possible.
So with this in mind, it's safe to say that this killing and torture in the name of the Muslim faith and ISIL's drive to establish a pure caliphate in the Middle East is not justified and should be stopped. But it's appearing that it's not as easy a fight that we thought it was going to be, and Americans watch and wonder if this is really an immediate threat to us, and is our government taking the right steps to ensure that our liberties, our basic freedoms, and our overall safety, which is guaranteed to us through the Constitution, are not being jeopardized or questioned. ISIL is a clear and obvious threat to the Middle East and the safety of their people. There are supporters of their cause popping up all over the world, and this is the most troublesome of the whole situation, as ISIL is using social media to recruit its young and impressionable members from all corners of the globe. The future of what happens with this mess is not an easy one to foretell, but it's quite evident that the United States and its new allies plan to do everything they can to help stop the spreading cancer in the Middle East and to protect our freedom from their terrorism here at home.